11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at noon Eastern. That's 9 a.m. Pacific for about an hour each day. We'll do 3 topics each day, different topics throughout the week. We pick those with the audience, the help of the audience on Mondays. So if you'd like to be part of the show, join us on Mondays when we plan everything out. We run it live on YouTube and simulcast it over on gunchannels.com, where we're watching the comments that are coming in from the people that watch the show live. When it's all over, we take the best of audio and post that over on iTunes as a podcast. And we appreciate everybody that listens to the show now or in the future. We especially the people that take the time to give us some feedback, subscribe to our channels, give us a thumbs up and comment on the videos. All those actions let us know you're out there, so we appreciate it. But they also help our show to be recommended to more listeners. And that's one of our goals, so we do appreciate that. We have hosts, just 2 of us today, the actual 2 that are the most dedicated, that really care about the Second Amendment. Bob, jumping in for
Yeah. Hi. Hey, glad to be here.
And I'm down here in Tucson. So Jimmy's out trying to make a buck because we don't get supported by anything else. And we don't have any other hosts because we moved it to the middle of the day. So thanks for everybody for showing up. And it'll probably be a quick show today, back like the old days. Nice and short and sweet. Jimmy and Dano and Smeggy and Z taking up all their time, taking up all our air time.
Yeah.
All right, so we're on episode 435. We started doing this show 435 episodes ago, Bob. 435 episodes. There's people that are all happy about their podcasts, you know, doing the primetime ones, and they're like, we're on episode 135. Big deal. Big deal.
Yeah.
So 435, it's way more than a year now. There's probably no way to calculate how many weeks that is, but that's a bunch of them. So it's Friday. It's the end of November, or the beginning of November, what am I saying? And it's Gun Tech. So we got that today. We'll be talking about the gun biz, and it looks like our alternate gun topic is empty, so we'll be winging that one. Every day we talk about a gun shop. We talk about a gun of the day and a movie and some other things. So before we dig into all that, though, we usually take a break, talk about what happened overnight, if anything's worth bringing up.
The space-time continuum got confused last night, but yeah, they're not. Yeah. There's some kind of weird thing where people are on different times than me. I don't understand it.
So you're saying how you missed Ellis's interview show yesterday?
I might have missed this show. Well, to my mind, I was about 3 minutes late, but the show was over already.
So Ellis does apparently on Thursdays. Yeah, Ellis does his shows on Thursdays, and you're supposed to be against, I guess. But you got it scheduled for next week or when?
Yeah, so it's going to be the 14th now at about 5 my time, 6 his time.
I wasn't listening. I don't know if I was on Yankee show when it was on or what, but it was. I think Night Strike jumped in or something. They said.
Nice.
So then had his chat yesterday. That's a good chat. Moon had a chat yesterday. I think. You know,
yeah, it was actually a busy night.
Huh?
It was actually a busy night last night.
Super busy. After this show, there was a lobby. Then Every Second Matters, and then a bunch of shows. So. Yeah, there's probably other stuff. We always talk about the shows because we're doing the podcast here, but any other news out there? There was, there was something I was going to bring up, and now we started talking about podcasts and stuff. Yeah, well. So, anything else? We'll dig in.
Yep.
All right, so
go for it.
Gun Tech is our first topic today. Creating a snap cap like insert so that you can use that round in a pump shotgun. Could even use the Aguila mini shell style for stuff like 9mm. So what I guess this was a subject that was suggested by somebody. It might actually, the way it is worded here, I'm guessing we might have pulled this out of a conversation and said, hey, let's talk about this specifically. But I think the concept here is that you've got those inserts, and you do have some of these inserts, or no?
I've got some, but just for different shotgun shells. We can't get the ones for pistol caliber up here.
Oh, not legal, you mean?
Yeah, so not at all.
Lame. All right, so I know somebody had just got some, though. I remember seeing some on Instagram here recently. Drawing a blank on who did it. But anyway, we're talking about these basically metal shotgun shell, solid metal shotgun shell. Drill a hole through the center of it. That way you create a chamber in that hole, right? Now you got a little bit of a barrel and you got a chamber, and it's right in the center where the primer would have been hit for the shotgun, but now it's hitting the primer of whatever cartridge you make that chamber built for, right? So, you know, 9mm, 357, 45. I've got a set so I can take 12 gauge down to 20 gauge and 410, but, you know, also 45, 45 Colt, 38, 9mm, 22 long rifle. So the problem with them is that they're basically just a solid metal shotgun shell with a hole drilled through the center of it. So there's nothing that really holds the cartridge, the pistol or rifle cartridge in there, into the shotgun shell. So because of that, and you know, mostly these are made for break opens or single barrels or something. So it's never been an issue really. And you want to be able to get your spent cartridge out of there, right? So there's really been nothing, you know, there's just one solid piece here. These aren't, you know, intricate machines or anything. So I guess this concept is to, I guess to follow through with that, if you just had the metal shotgun shell, even if they were exactly the same dimensions so that they would cycle through a pump shotgun, which the inserts typically are a little longer, so they wouldn't cycle through a shotgun. But even if you made them the same dimensions to work in a pump shotgun or something, the cartridge, you know, the subcaliber cartridge that you have in there would just fall out and get in the way. So you'd have to build something that would retain the cartridge. Like if it was a pistol cartridge, you could put some sort of little clippy thing in there that held the rim, I guess, and then let it head space off of its case. But I don't know what you'd do for like a 357 or a 38 or 44 or something like that.
I would kind of think that might even be easier because you could just have some kind of spring-loaded clip inside the insert that would just slip into the
So just friction and tension or something, friction would hold it in there.
Right. And I'm wondering why these couldn't be 3D printed. I mean, you'd have to put a metal insert in them, but you could 3D print the hull, you know, aluminum or steel insert. Well, I guess that'd be steel. But, you know, with a solid 3D printed case around it, you'd think that'd give you enough strength.
Well, you'd want a rim.
You know, you should double.
Right? You'd want a metal rim.
Yeah,
so
yeah, you'd have
to pump. So that wouldn't be any good.
Yeah.
I guess you could make a slug of plastic that did what you're talking about there. But you'd basically, in effect, have a chamber with a small barrel, and you'd have to give it some substance. I mean, it's got a 9mm or 38 or something going off inside of it. So it's got to have at least the barrel diameter of like a Derringer or something. But I guess to save weight and to give it some, like, so that it didn't scratch up everything. You know, you don't want just metal going through your shotgun anyway. You scrape up your chamber. So if you were to that shell like a Glock mag, you know, overmold it, then, but you still want the rim.
So ideally, how would you give it some sort of rotation so it doesn't bang up the inside of your barrel?
See, I don't know why you guys think. What do you think? Seriously, think that if you shot a bullet off, that it just goes haphazard, like bounces around like a Super Ball? Like you,
it would.
Well, like
a bullet just falls out when you shoot a bullet off. It doesn't even go anywhere. It just falls off. It just, you know, maybe it'll go a little ways, but it doesn't have any rhyme or reason. So once you put it in any kind of confinement, it just goes whatever direction it started at. It doesn't immediately go a 30-degree angle off to the side. So it might tumble a little bit, but it's not hitting shot. That's way after it leaves the shotgun barrel.
Yeah, it would basically just go straight down the center of the barrel.
I've had them in every caliber, and I think, you know, I've had videos where I just take basically baggies, a bunch of different bullets, and we have all the things there, and we just shoot them through there. It's never hit the barrel. And we've done it through the long barrels and my little short one.
I guess I'm thinking of slightly improved accuracy at some sort of distance. I mean,
well, again, it's like shooting a pistol. So if you're going to have a Glock 26, then that shotgun adapter, depending on which one you have there. I guess if you're putting one inside of a shotgun shell and making it cycle through, then you've got basically a Derringer. But again, you are pushing that bullet in a direction. It may not be as accurate, consistent, as longer barrel, but it'll. I mean, I can hit leaves and I can hit flowers and knock stuff off at fences and stuff with them. With 22s,
we're not talking 1-inch MOA. This thing's only going to be useful at basically short barrel pistol ranges, but it's going to be useful at those ranges, and it gives you the ability to use so many different caliber. I mean, basically, you could with a 12-gauge shotgun, you could shoot almost anything with the proper inserts.
Well, the only restriction would be it couldn't be longer than the 12-gauge, basically. You have to be
right.
A little,
but so 3-inch.
I guess what I'm saying is the insert itself could have, even though it's only 3 inches long or whatever it is, could have 3 inches worth of rifling, which would be more than enough.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Sure, yeah. A lot of those inserts, you get the longer ones, they have 6 inches of rifling. But talking something like something to cycle through a 12-gauge. Well, most 12-gauge pumps are going to take 3-inch magnums, so you got a 3-inch. Basically barrel. Right. Yeah. So yeah, you could. I mean, that adds to the cost of them. And because you're going to need, okay, you got your standard shotgun's going to hold 5. You'd want to have at least 5 for every caliber that you're going to be utilizing. But it does give you 5 rounds of pretty much any kind of ammo you want, or any kind of ammo you can find.
What I could see that being useful is, let's say you're walking around and you're bird hunting or whatever. Instead of having one of them stupid double guns, you could have just a couple of rounds of 22 in adapters in your stock, and then a couple of rounds of like 38 maybe, and then or 44 or whatever, and then have it loaded with shotgun, and then if you need to, put in an actual bullet once in a while.
Yeah, say you come across a deer, and you could just pop those shot rounds out and drop it with a 44 mag or 357.
Just poach that deer during dove season. Bob don't care.
We're talking like a prepper survival type, SHOL type situation, where it's the apocalypse. You're Mad Max. You got to find browns wherever you can. So maybe
it's HOL.
Shit hits all life. No, not all. Shit hits only. I don't know.
All right. So the concept though is to create a snap cap like insert that you can use in a shotgun. The Aguila mini shells, problem with them is they don't work in every shotgun. They load in any magazine, that's no problem, but they don't always cycle, depending on how the gates are and just where the metal is or whatever. So I wouldn't, although that sounds promising, I think I'd rather, like Bob was saying, have a bit of rifling and a little bit of barrel. Give it at least a little bit of oomph in the direction you want it to go.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, like I say, I would say, 2 3/4, because then it's going to work in anything. 2 3/4, that's still going to give you on a 9mm. It's going to give you an 1.5 inch barrel, which is, the same as a snubby. So that's going to give you probably pretty decent accuracy, really, out to 100 yards, especially when you've got the full length sight picture. So I think this is a hell of an idea. Now, all we need is somebody who's got a 3D printer, and then somebody else who can make barrels up that we can insert into the 3D printed blanks.
Yeah,
that'd be the
barrel, or you should be able to. Could you machine them out of, like, I don't know, something cool like a hardened bolt, like an aircraft bolt?
Probably, like anything you could
take a giant
drill
aircraft
the center out of.
Yeah, drill the center out of it, turn it into wimpy, non-dangerous, like a 9mm or a 22 or a 25 ACP would be perfect, right? You can still get that ammo.
Shoot those at height, probably.
I thought we talked about caliber shaming.
Honestly, about calibers, it's an open and frank discussion about calibers. And I'm just saying one that you could get in the diameter of a bolt.
Your opinion is jaded.
But I think it would be an even cooler option to just have, you know, you make up the plastic 3D blanks, and then you'd only have to have barrel inserts that all had the same outside diameter that would fit into these 3D blanks, these printed polymer blanks. So then you could just carry a whack of the little barrels that would just pop into these blanks. So then you could have, you know, 10 or 15 of the actual hulls, and then you've just got your different barrels. So then you could mix and match.
What if you just cast them in aluminum? And then,
oh, that would, it's super lightweight then.
well, and then it'd be all metal, and you got the chamber support from the shotgun chamber. I mean, you're putting it into a chamber. It's just not the same chamber. So if you stuck that, you know, if you filled the whole area around a 9mm with aluminum, I don't know how long the barrel would last, but, or maybe put a steel insert inside that aluminum. But I was just thinking of a way to make them inexpensive is just pour them out of aluminum, and then you'd still have to have something to retain the 9mm in there, or the 38 or whatever.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah, you could easily,
9mm just wants to get out and kick ass.
it would be as simple as like with 9mm, because it's got the because of the rim design, it could be something as simple as a pin that goes through the hull, like the shot hull, and then just would slide through, and that would retain the clip, right? So then if you need to take the empty brass out, you can just push that pin out, make it a retained pin. So you push that out, drop the 9mm cartridge out, put a new one in, put the pin back, push the pin back in. Wouldn't be super fast to reload, but I mean, it's never going to be.
No, I don't know. You could do something with like a piece of rubber or something inside the throat or whatever, the chamber, so that, you know, it wouldn't be supported right there as much, but it, you know, just it would be metal, and you could just have something like you were saying before with like friction.
Yeah, exactly. It could be something as simple as an O-ring for friction fit.
Because once it's in there, it's not going to blast out. It's in a chamber, so it's not, you know, it's supported when it's shooting. It's just so that it's not going to fall loose when it's in operation.
Like seats on its rim anyway, right? Or on its shoulder. How's a 9mm seat in a revolver?
A 9mm in a revolver will depend. It's either going to be a moon clip, or some revolvers are just they go off of the case length. You know, they just have a little ridge there, and they headspace off the case.
So
that's
you could headspace it off the rim, right? And then just have a friction fit to hold it so it can't fall out backwards. So you have to push it out, you know, when you've got when it's empty.
Well, once it shoots, it expands. So yeah, it stays in there fine. But up until then, yeah, had a tendency to leave. Plus, it's got all that weight of the bullet keeping it, you know, giving it momentum to slide out. I don't know if it was practical. I think somebody would have come up with it by now, but maybe nobody's thought of for it. But just to have if there was a way to have them inexpensive enough to have a few of them, because the problem is most people have one insert and a bunch of 38s. So if there was a cheap way to have, like you said, 5 just inserts that were half plastic, so they didn't weigh a ton. The other thing is they weigh a lot. So
yeah, well, that's what you're saying. You can make them out of aluminum. Now I've got 410 inserts that go into a 12 gauge, and they're just all aluminum. Now 410 doesn't have a whole lot of punch, but
right,
because, you know, it's got the support from the steel shotgun barrel chamber. So aluminum, you know, it's not soft enough that it's going to push out from something like a 9mm or a 38 or even a 44 Magnum.
In a 410, though, it doesn't need a barrel. It doesn't need rifling or anything, because there's no, you know, it's just pushing the wad out.
Right. Yeah. But what I'm saying is you still, like, that aluminum seems to be enough to support the expansion of the gases when you fire.
Oh yeah,
right. It's enough that it doesn't blow up. So
although it might,
you should be able to make
distort, you know, it might warp or whatever faster than a real metal. All right, well, we've given too much attention, I think.
We get enough time. Yeah, it's a genius idea. And Anybody makes them? That remember that's patented by Ball G. So
Robert's saying on the YouTube side that Bob should be smoking a cigar.
yeah, I've been thinking of switching to cigars.
Bob can't buy menthols anymore.
No, they don't sell menthols in Canada anymore. I got to smoke freaking regular ones. Yeah.
How crazy is that? Because menthol cigarettes were elusive or what, tempting kids. Like so many kids run to the store to buy menthol cigarettes.
Yep. Yeah, they made all flavored tobacco products illegal. So menthol got caught in it, even though they've been making them forever.
There's no slippery slope. All right, so we're going to take a break and go into the next segment of the show. Before that, though, we usually take a break and feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's a community. It's focused on firearms, completely supported by its members. We got a bunch of new members last night. So I think I will take a look at some of the new members. Since a bunch of people were watching Clover's chat, I think, and were asking how to join. And a bunch of them did. So our most recent member is Catfish. So member number 5779. We have almost 6,000 members coming up on our 4th year. Pretty cool. And yeah. We don't know him because he's brand new. Just signed up yesterday.
What's his handle?
Opening it now. Looks like we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members, new members yesterday. Catfish Carol, I guess, Carrell.
Oh, cool.
There was a link out here. Everybody can friend him if you want. Hopefully it's not some spam thing selling moving services in Bangkok or something weird. That's the kind of spam we usually get, is like dry cleaners in like Bangladesh or something. Trying to
yeah.
Well, like we talked about on Mondays when we talk about the using the events section of Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a vital webpage. It's got way more than 1 million views every month. So people know that, and they're gonna, if they can put a link out there, it's gonna help their little shitty website out there, or probably their clients, those crappy websites that aren't, getting that kind of energy. And we have to delete that spam, but that's an indication that it's an effective resource. So use it. Promote your local shops, promote your local events.
For sure.
All right, so that was our featured member of the day. If you'd like to feature somebody over on Gun Channels, you can always send us an email, dailygunshow@gmail.com. Let us know somebody that helped you out, or that you're glad is there, or that does a nice show or something, or offered some good feedback, or helped you out with image or something. And use this way, use this section of the show to share your experiences over there. With that, I guess we'll go into the gun biz. Today we're talking about gunsmith schools. Looks like Dano's got a list over here. Oh, we didn't introduce Dano's from Illinois. Thanks for jumping in.
Yep. Landry here. Yeah, I just did a quick Google on gunsmithing schools, and then I pulled up the NRA's list of their 4 approved gunsmithing schools, and I might as well because that's a shorter list.
Did you say they only have
4 approved? NRA approved gunsmithing schools in no particular order. There is Montgomery Community College, which is in Troy, North Carolina. The next is Trinidad State Junior College, which is in Trinidad, Colorado.
In there.
The next is Murray State College I can't pronounce this town's name, Tishomingo, Oklahoma. And the next one is Lassen Community College in Susanville, California.
Right on.
So if you're interested in any of those on that list, that is gunsmithing.nra.org.
What's that Oklahoma one? That's that weird town. Which one?
Yeah, I'll copy it so you guys can see it as well.
I'm gonna throw it on a map because
school.
I'll see if I can't go past that school.
Okay, just a moment.
Gunsmithing school in California just seems wrong.
Trinidad, Colorado?
No, the one in Oklahoma. I've been to the Trinidad, Colorado one.
Oh, okay. Wrong one. North Carolina. Okay, I see it. It's the Murray State.
Okay, Murray State College one. I'll check that out on the map.
Yes. There's another college of the same name that's in Kentucky, but that's not them. This one is
Yeah, Tishomingo or something.
Tishomingo,
Look.
Oklahoma.
It is in come on, Oklahoma City. So it's south of Oklahoma City. It's about halfway between Oklahoma City and Dallas, right near where I stopped at that chocolate factory in the Chickasaw Nation. Dang, I drove right past there.
Yeah, that's if you're able to call ahead, I would think you might be able to get do the prospective student thingy, or do whatever you want and see if they'll give you a tour.
Yeah,
It'd be kind of interesting to see,
definitely
especially
possible.
the labs.
It's definitely possible. It's about as far away from Oklahoma. I guess I could screen share. I'm looking at the dang map right here. It's about as far away from Oklahoma City as Tulsa is. It's just down a ways towards Dallas. Very cool.
Okay, so is it on your way up to Tulsa?
Not really. I mean, not really, but I don't have to necessarily drive straight line either. So I'm definitely going to consider it. There's a thing is
on your way back.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's another museum I missed in Oklahoma City. Is it Cavalry Museum or something? It's like something old cowboyish. I missed a cowboy museum, I think, in Oklahoma City. So I figured I'd hit maybe that on the way there. Maybe I could hit this one on the way back. Still trying to figure it out. Matt is moving up to Wichita Falls, so he'll be right near that area. And then the other one you were talking about is in this little town that's right on the border of Colorado and New Mexico, just north of Las Vegas, New Mexico. And that's where the one gunsmith school is. Now, the one that's not on your list there, but it's on that other list you had there, is in Prescott. So
right
here's someplace.
The other list, unfortunately, didn't give me a city or state, but I'll go ahead and read them off just so the audience
well,
can.
that Yakabai whatever college that's the mountain range or whatever around Prescott. So that's the Prescott school. And I know people have graduated from that school. And I've been to that one. So that's 3 of them. You said one of them was in California.
Colorado School of Trades, and the Lenore Community College, Montgomery Community College, Murray State we already mentioned, Piedmont Technical College, Pine Technical College, and those were the ones. And again, there was overlap of all the ones that were NIA approved were also on that list of 10.
And that list of 10 was just a web search type of thing?
Yes. I was just trying to come up with something quick on the fly.
So you guys are over there talking about cigars. Ingrid told me, or was telling us that do you like your coffee black or with cream and sugar in it?
Oh, I'm a cream and sugar guy.
Bob?
Just cream.
So you're supposed to go with the brown labels if you like cream and sugar, and the darker labels if you like it black.
Huh.
So I guess that's a rule of thumb with cigars.
Cool. I'm going to try some of them Cuban ones, though. See if we can get them here.
Scars is saying on the YouTube side he wanted to go to Pennsylvania Gunsmith School, but don't have the cash. Some of those have, some of them have grants too, but they have scholarships, right? Where you can get endowments from like NRA or something. Because gunsmiths are one of them jobs where it seems to me like there's always a need for gunsmiths. There's never enough of them.
And something that's, it's a common thing, but not necessarily every place has it, is an endowment fund where somebody passed on years ago and they created an endowment, and part of that goes to the trades in general or gunsmithing in particular, and students get assigned or are eligible, depending on their performance, for those, depending on what whoever created the endowment fund wanted. So if they wanted, academics, and then that would be the criteria. If they wanted prior experience, in the firearms industry, then that would be the requirement. But those things do exist out there, these endowment funds.
It's true. I haven't thought about that stuff in a while, but I remember when I was a kid going to school, I seriously considered not going to gunsmith school, but trying to get gunsmith school paid for as part of my credits or something. And there were, like you're saying, endowments of Zord where people put their money aside, and it just sits in funds or whatever, so the interest gets peeled off and sent to get kids through training. So usually you can find out about those and then work towards them, write some kind of essay or apply.
Yep.
Cool. I'm gonna add that as a topic
some will pay for everything, and some will give you partial compensation. I mean, because so they run the gambit as far as how much they'll pay for.
Yeah, and sometimes
imagine the perfect world. Perfect world. High school would have like a shop, auto shop, welding shop, wood shop, and gunsmith shop. Wouldn't that be cool?
No.
You could take gunsmithing in high school.
That would make it. Everybody would hate it then.
Oh, that's possible. No, I know lots of people like their shop classes. My lady friend's daughter is actually taking welding, which is handy because I have a lot of welding to do.
Robert's saying maybe the Rifle Dynamics gunsmith course is a good start. I don't know. I think a gunsmithing school is going to be more of an education, where that's going to be more of like hands-on. So that'd be the difference between going to learn how to speak Spanish, right, from like a class where you go to a bunch of different classes on grammar and everything else, and then in vocabulary and all that, or else taking a crash course on how to travel or speak for travel or something, and you just get right into it and you don't really learn why, you're just learning words. So he's going to teach you stuff that's valuable to make an AK, but that's not gunsmithing. That's just machinery. That's quite a bit different.
Those Glock gunsmithing courses.
That's right. The armorer's courses. There's a difference between an armorer and a gunsmith. Armorer is just swapping parts and diagnosing. Gunsmithing is knowing tools and knowing a lot more guns, way more breadth and knowledge.
Yeah, you got to know how to use a file and make parts, actually, almost.
All right, so that was gunsmithing schools. If you got an idea for a topic throughout the week, you can always send them to us, dailygunshow@gmail.com, or stick around on Mondays or join us on Mondays where we schedule out the weeks typically. So we'll keep moving into the next topic today, and looks like that can be gunshot for the day. I'll come on the right screen here, so I'll go over here. And this one is a video from a while back that I don't know if anybody's ever seen because it's old. Let's see what year it's from. This is from 2010. And one of the guys' thumbs went down to Costa Rica for school, actually. Not gunsmithing school, some kind of other school. And while he was down there, I asked him to check out Gun Shop.
We have just a couple of pictures that were sent to us tonight from a gun shop in Costa Rica. If I'm saying it right, it's Armeria Polini. We took a look at their website, and it says that they were founded in 1937. We'll link to their website on the comments there. But we've been having a blast. They're kind of high-quality pictures, so we could just been zooming in and taking a look at what kind of guns we can see. These are both, the pictures were taken like through the front window. I think the store was closed or they didn't have time to go in. But you can see a lot of stuff. There's some guns way in the back there, but closer up, you can see some sort of break open, single barrel, 12, maybe 20 gauge shotgun. Below that, some sort of lever action. I'm guessing a 22. Then below that, a Maverick shotgun, probably 12 gauge, maybe 20. Then below that, an AR-7 style rifle, some sort of BB gun below that. I don't know what that desert camo thing there is in front. Then all kinds of revolvers and small pistols. What you can tell, they all look like they're 22 or 25. There's a couple that must be 38s or something, but not very big calibers, not very big guns. We took a look at their website, and there's lots of common stuff, Smith & Wesson's, EAA, Cobra, Rossi and stuff, but some stuff I've never heard of, like an extra Tiver or extra Tiver, Tiver, something called a Cora, Kora. They even have a revolver called an extra Doberman. I don't know if that's the brand name or if it's just a bad Google translation, but it seems kind of cool. Revolver called an extra Doberman. It's a 10-shot 22. You can see there's lots of other stuff in the store there. They told us it's sort of like flea market type stuff, made in China swords and throwing knives and darts and stuff, but also these pistols and revolvers. This picture is the other picture with sort of a close-up. You can see a Taurus revolver there that seems like it's a 38 or something larger. Some of the other brands there, like I say, a Beretta, Walther, and Cobra, but there's also something called a Tisas or a Tisas, Tisas from Turkey, and then something called a Sarzolmaz or Sarsilmaz, another one from Turkey. But they also have Keltex and Smith & Wessons and CZ, so pretty good, decent selection there. They use Cologne is their dollar there, and that price tag on that Walther was 502,000 Cologne, and I have no idea the translation rate, but I think we figured it out to be something like $600 for a Walther P22. That one next to it, the longer barrel, that price tag says 435,000 Cologne. So again, that's seems like a ton of money, but I think it's still expensive even when you do the translation to dollars. I can't see the price tag on the Derringer, but there's a couple of NAA revolvers here, and the smaller one, when you zoom in, you can see the price is 235,000 Cologne. So I can't scroll in with the software. I just don't know how to do it, but I would like to scroll in on the grip on that, on the larger NAA revolver, because it looks like it's hand carved or something, like a unique one or an aftermarket one. So lots of interesting stuff, all little pocket revolvers and pocket pistols. Hopefully we'll get some video, but for now, that's 2 pictures from a gun shop in Costa Rica.
That's very cool. You know what I find really interesting is they seem to have a whole lot more tiny little handguns than they do rifles, and it's kind of the opposite up here. You know, you go in and you can't find a small handgun because they're illegal, but you can find all the rifles you want.
I was a little taken back by that cover up your identity mask. As far as who exactly are they selling to?
Oh, Dan, you go into our gun shops, we get tons of stuff like that. It's called like cold weather masks.
That's
There's a difference between a cold weather mask that you get at a Fleetwood Farm or some sort of Canadian Tire sort of place, and something that's at a gun store that's made to hide your identity.
In Costa Rica.
No, they have them in gun stores. It's for hunting.
No, it's probably because they got kidnappings and shit, right? Wouldn't you want your, I don't know, maybe walk around with a mask on so you don't get kidnapped?
Yeah, they don't know who you are then.
Yeah. We'd make Bob wear a mask. We don't want
Yeah. Because I'm sure that would not get the attention of the local police if somebody's walking down the street with their face covered.
So we have a Justin out there in the gun channel side says 520,000 Cologne is $880.55 US.
Wow. That was for this Walther? That's a lot of money. But it's
that's not bad. Not up here.
That's a $300 gun. And this is a country where you can
$500-600 here.
Yeah.
You can move down there with your gun. It takes a while, but you can bring it down there if you want. I think they have to put it in their little parameters though, so maybe not every gun.
And that's a price from how many years ago?
2010. That's a good point.
So yeah, but countries like Costa Rica tend to have a lot of problems with high inflation. So I'm sure it's a lot more than that today.
Probably.
So it's not, Costa Rica is fairly cheap to live.
It's one of the places that people go retire. Like, I'm sick of capitalism.
Yeah, I think our
Our
premier in Manitoba spends about half his year there. He's got a ranch. Be like your governor, I guess.
Bunch of bananas come from there. All right, so that's a gun shop, Costa Rica. If you've ever been to a gun shop in another country and you got pictures of it, post them. Let people know what it's like. If you're listening from another country, post pictures. We watched Catch one time live on a lobby chat, I think it was. Walked out of his house, walked down the snowy streets or whatever it was, took his little dog, I think, with him. Maybe it wasn't snowing. But anyway, he took his little dog, went on a walk. Before we know it, he's walking into a shop. He's buying a suppressor off the shelf, walked home with it. So,
yeah, that was pretty amazing.
So, yeah, International Gun Shop. Let's see, why don't we go into the movie of the day? So normally we do gun-related movies, but I just watched this one on Amazon last night, and it was pretty cool. So Amazon Prime, you can watch a bunch of movies kind of like Netflix. There's this one called Data Center, the true cost of the internet. Anybody seen this one by any chance?
No, I haven't heard of it.
I don't know if it's new or not, but it's up at the top of my list on Amazon. So I think it meant it was like newly released or something. Thing is, it's a movie from 2013. It's got a 2016 date on it, but I suspect it's still fairly relevant, at least in its concepts. And it's interesting. It breaks down an email to the cost of coal, like the cost of energy production for that email to exist. And it's pretty neat. It's a different look on it. It's definitely, you know, environmental side look at it. The guy that they're following around is from Greenpeace, and it's starts out just talking about the internet and, you know, that the stuff that we basically take for granted. I mean, we definitely take it for granted. We don't think about the energy cost to create the infrastructure and then maintain this massive amount of data that's running around. But all those hard drives spinning somewhere to maintain data are costing energy, right? And they've got these massive data centers in North Carolina. Really interested in going out and checking them out now. There's Google, Apple, you know, everybody is there because of cheap coal. And there's just massive coal production. Something like 5% of North Carolina's fuel goes to Google and Mac and Apple to run their data centers there. Then it talked a bit about alternative energy potentials, and then at the end, they talk a bit about moving the data centers up to places like Finland, right, where they don't have to pay $1 billion to keep the thing cool. They just open the doors. And then finally, a neat concept of putting servers into small batches and putting them basically on the wall of people's places to let that radiant heat become actual heat. You know, they made basically little electronic radiators that are data, you know, little pieces of data center. So distributing computing out to literally people's walls, and distributing data centers out like that, so that that heat is actually useful. So kind of neat concepts, and puts it into perspective. And this is, again, quite a few years old. So I suspect
that was
no, this is on Amazon Prime.
Okay. It was a documentary.
Yeah, kind of a crappy European documentary. Like, say, it's the Greenpeace guy walking around as the main person, so it's kind of cheesy. But it might be on Netflix. It's called Data Center: the True Cost of the Internet. Put the link in here.
Yeah, because I tried to find it on IMDb and it didn't pop up, but maybe that's because it's a documentary.
Yeah, it's just kind of crude. All right,
Yeah,
so
I could
that's not the guns, but it is sobering to think that, yeah, the internet can't last forever. We are going to run out of ability at some point. Kind of neat. So we're definitely in the heyday of all this. This is the what would you call it? The Western expansion days of the internet. This is a time to get out there and get established. Once it starts to be expensive, we're going to see a lot fewer of these free services like we're seeing right now that we're using. We're seeing the
beginning.
Yeah.
The beginning of the Industrial Revolution, coal was dirt cheap.
Well, just like in some Western towns where you had to check in your gun with the local sheriff before you could go to the local bar, I wonder if maybe an equivalent today might be you need to check your free speech in order to participate in some social media. It might be an equivalent.
You'll have to check your privilege.
Yeah, check your rights, or at least one right at the door before you can continue.
And be free speech, yeah.
I don't know how we got into that, but all right. So do we want to do gun of the day?
Sure, let's do gun of the day. And it's actually another World War I gun. It's a French MLE 16. So this is the latest or a later update of the French Lebel, or that fires the 8mm Lebel, first smokeless cartridge. Their earlier versions, of course, of the Lebel had used a tubular magazine, and there's problems with that when you're shooting. A lot of people say the reason they quit using the tubular magazine was because of worried about detonation of rounds from recoil and stuff. But the biggest problem was the loading time, very slow reloads, compared to being able to use a stripper clip or a, or just a loading clip, right? So they went to, a clip loading system, and that helped a lot. Other than that, it wasn't a lot different than the earlier tube magazine rifle. I don't think it was as good as you know, the British or what the Germans had, or indeed even the Springfield. But you know, it was an improvement, and like I say, it was one of the first smokeless cartridges, so that's the biggest claim to fame, I think, for the 8mm French battle rifles. The earlier ones were humongously long because they were still working on the theory that you would have a line of guys, two lines of guys, and shoot at the front line, and then guys would be shooting over their shoulders. So they wanted a really long rifle so you wouldn't shoot the guy in front of you in the back. So they had these rifles that were as tall as the soldiers. You know, the average soldier's about 5'7". So these guns were like, you know, 5'7", 5'8" long, and then you stick a 2-foot long bayonet on it. But yeah, very, very interesting gun, and you know, it was one of the ones that fought with the French all the way through the war, and into World War II even.
I thought the theory was that if you make the rifle long enough and then you make the attachable bayonet long enough, then you can get your white flag way up there when you're waving it.
Well, who knows, right? Up to that point in World War I mean, the French were actually not known for surrendering. They were known for one of the better armies in the world and one of the braver armies, which of course is why they had such massive casualties in World War I. So they got the reputation for surrendering is because by the late World War I, they had lost so many men that the guys who had survived that long were just like, I don't want to die. And the new guys coming in would get infected with that idea. So they had terrible morale problems. Actually, at one point, they marched a whole battalion into a field and just used artillery to slaughter them, their own troops. Brutal back in those days, man.
So it says that France is slightly less than the size of Texas. So that country is basically like Texas taking on Germany.
And when you look at the millions of men in that war, just like, you know, whole generations of young men were just decimated. You know, and those were the guys who were, yeah, I want to go to war. I'm going to volunteer. And then, you know, got marched into machine gun fire. That's got to do something to the psyche of the country.
All right.
Well,
It wasn't just the French, unfortunately, and I still to this day have no idea why it took so long for the commanders to understand you just can't stand up and march into a machine gun.
Yeah, it boggles the mind, doesn't it?
I mean, the French were not the only ones to get slaughtered with that same stupid technique from the 1800s.
No, and the weird thing was, you know, like the British did it, the Canadians and the Australians came in and they were told this is the way to do it. And even when the Americans came in as late as they did in the war, yeah, you know, they, you know, because everybody else was already figuring it out after years and years of losing hundreds of thousands of men in one charge.
Yeah. It wasn't like, you know, a couple of battles or just a couple thousand men that died in those machine guns.
No, they lost, like in one day's battle, they would lose up 100,000 men. Imagine that, 100,000. Now, if we lose 2,000 or 3,000 guys in a 10-year war, that's been a bad war, right?
And then to think that they did that for years.
Yeah. Imagine the poor guys who
like
survived.
6 months or 9 months. They repeated this, you know, it's like the definition of insanity is continue to do the same thing yet expect different results.
Yep. Thinking if the soldiers were just a little braver, if they just worked a little harder, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're not stout enough.
Yeah, and they would, you know, like guys who had gone through 2 or 3 years of this and had survived, they would finally crack. Well, that would be cowardice. They'd put you up on a pole and shoot you. Yeah, it's just, yeah, they had such a low opinion of human life in those days. makes you wonder. That's why, people who complain about the world being so horrible today, well, they don't read history. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll move on to Day in History. So, a couple of things happened today, I suppose. Put this into time perspective here. Today in 1493, so 1493, Columbus arrived at something or other islands in Dominican Republic, I guess, during his second expedition. So 1493, Christopher Columbus's second expedition comes over here, and then in 1507, Da Vinci got commissioned to paint the Mona Lisa. So that, I just thought that was interesting, since those two things happened today. That I guess I kind of figured the Mona Lisa was older than Christopher Columbus stuff.
Do you recall roughly when Amerigo Vespucci discovered the American continent?
No. Not off the top of my head or anything.
Because a lot of times I just think of 1492 but it really wasn't 1492. It was some date later.
It was much later, yeah. Columbus never even got to. So.
It was something like 1017 by the Vikings. Like, come on.
He's saying that specific Vespucci guy. So let's
talk about the real first discoveries of North America.
So it's not the Russians that just walked across over here? It has to be the Vikings that sailed across?
No, that's never really been proven, that whole theory.
Okay. So there was a couple other things in here. So I can say this one, 1912, the first all-metal plane flew in France. Oh, this one I thought was interesting. Here it is. Here it is. I mean, it's coming. 1979, the Ku Klux Klan and neo-Nazis kill 5 and wound 7 members of the Communist Party during a Death to the Klan rally in Greensboro, North Carolina. The incident becomes known as the Greensboro Massacre. So, did anybody bring any of that up when that other thing was happening a minute ago in North Carolina? Or was that South Carolina?
I think it was, I can't remember.
But anyway, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't know about that one. I don't pay attention to those kind of things, I guess. There was another neat thing that happened today. The communists in 1957 launched the first dog into outer space. That was today in 1957.
And what, I can't recall whether that dog was recovered alive or not.
Wait, what? So the first person on the Gun Channel side to give us the name of that dog is going to be our Tactical Pop Quiz winner of the day.
Oh, good one.
So we'll just sit here listening to Dan eat his ice cream, I guess. And the stupid YouTube ad. Stupid YouTube. We're still waiting. No answers as of yet. Not one answer.
Angry.
Yep, Angry got it.
Yep.
I
don't know how to pronounce that, but I was going to say Laika.
Probably Laika. Laika. Yeah, that sounds right. So it must have been a girl dog?
It's not Spot. And it's cereal. It's not ice cream. It's too early for the ice cream.
Sure, Dano. He just puts ice cream on his cereal.
And you ever put a scoop of ice cream into the middle of a cereal bowl of cereal? It's a thing. All right. Well, I got to grab the link for him. So
wait. We forgot. No. I mean, Angry, because we were talking about cereal. You got, confused there. Angry? That makes you the Tactical Pop Quiz hot shot of the day.
Right on. And we want to thank the people that are supporting us over on Patreon to allow us to send out stuff to the people that win the Tactical Pop Quiz. So thanks for that. We sent a link to you there. You can fill out the form on the website, and we'll soon be getting that into production here. So tomorrow is going to be November 4th, and in 1862, Richard Gatling received his patent, number 36836, for the machine gun, the Gatling gun. It's patented tomorrow in 1862. So you can say that when you go to the gun show or your gun shop tomorrow, maybe out at the range. What else are we missing? We did a gun shop. We did a gun. We did the movie. We did everything, right? We're done.
Everything but what's on tonight.
So today's Friday. It will be Clover doing a show. It will be Edge doing his show. And maybe you're doing your new show for the first time. So if you want to do a show live, head over to Gun Channels, let people know, and be part of the mix. A couple of people have been posting shows over on YouTube for some reason. Midnight Range won't post it over on Gun Channels for some reason. But, if you notice people out there are posting and they're looking for audience, then encourage them to post it on Gun Channels. Night Strike, Dano, Bob even can probably help you figure out how to set them up. Most everybody over there at least knows somebody who knows how to set it up if they don't know how to set it up themselves. So it's an open place for anybody to do whatever creative stuff they want, you know, gun related content. Definitely some room open on weekend evenings. And if not, Knives usually has a lobby going, and join everybody over there for the conversations. They're usually pretty crazy on Fridays and Saturdays. Then tomorrow will be Saturday. Travis does Caliber Corner. In the afternoon, Rick will do Rick's Life as I See It. Moon Food and Smeggy are doing their Saturday night show now. They're getting that kicked off. And then I think on Sunday, Matt and Yankee do shows. Yoder, Texas usually posts a link to Come and Talk It, which is a syndicated radio show out of Texas. It's pretty cool. Matt was on that one actually promoting the Second Amendment rally. Of course, this Saturday or this Sunday, the 5th, will be the Second Amendment rallies at the state capitals. So if you haven't already checked it out, head over to Facebook and get more info on that. It's a fairly impromptu call to action to head out to the state capitals to show support to the Second Amendment, not in reaction to any kind of fear or in trying to be manipulated into justifying the acts of a murder or anything, just to simply let people know that we're Second Amendment advocates. We want to be able to express our rights, right? We want to be able to go shooting and not be persecuted for it. So an opportunity for conversation, an opportunity to learn how these events work, how to organize, how to assemble. And if we ever need to, we'll have done the groundwork. We'll have done the recon and the the real work. And if we need to go back with dozens and dozens and hundreds of more people, we'll be better off for it. So that's Sunday, and then we'll be back here Monday. Jimmy starts the day off with early watch, starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, all the way up until we start the show at noon.
All right. Well, on that note, let's wrap this up with our quote. We always do a quote at the end of the show. This one will be by Thomas Jefferson. Before that, though, I just want to remind everybody, please like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, and if you can, support us on Patreon. The link for that will be at the end of the show notes in the description on YouTube. So let's go, Thomas Jefferson. And this one's kind of timely, I guess, with what's going on in the news these days, but the man who reads nothing at all is better educated, reads nothing but newspapers, put in modern media, and you pretty much get the idea. So Thomas Jefferson, very wise words from one of the founders of what I consider the greatest country in North America. Unfortunately, because you have better laws than mine. So with that traitor thought in mind, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Oh no, we'll see you Monday. Yeah, forgot what day it was.
Guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.